Hey guys, Ranger here. Welcome back to another very special reaction and commentary video. And this is to the 13th episode of MLP, which is The Perfect Pair. Now, if this particular part here hasn't been cut out, then I know you're probably wondering, where's episode 12? Discordant Harmony. Well, the reason I haven't done it yet is because I can't find it in 720. The highest quality I can find it in is 480, and so this right here I was able to find in 720, but Discordant Harmony I can't find it in 720. The highest I can find is 480, and so if I can find it in 720, then I'll do it. But so if this segment hasn't been cut out, then you'll get this episode, and whenever I can find Discordant Harmony in 720, then you'll get it. But this one right here, a lot of people has been telling me that they can't wait for me to watch it because it's a really great episode. It's emotional, and I do know that this episode has something about Applejack's parents. That much I know. I know that much, and I know that much because I've been trying to find this episode in 720. That much was spoiled for me while I was trying to find it. But that's really all that I know. So let's go ahead and I really don't know anything else, which is a good thing. So let's go ahead and start. Start the video in 3, 2, 1, click. That looks good.
Thank you. You must be new. I'm Apple Bloom.
I'm Grand Pear.
Welcome to Ponyville.
You mean welcome back to Ponyville. Grand Pear was originally from here before he opened his famous Pear Jam store in Vancouver.
Really? Why'd you move back?
Well, I needed a change of pace.
Huh.
I like his voice.
That's just delicious.
Who voiced him anyway?
I
Those
can't
look
believe I've
delicious.
gone my whole life without ever having this.
Glad you like it.
How much?
No.
Wow. Thanks, Mr. Grandpair, sir. It was real nice meeting you.
Apple Bloom is freaking adorable in this. Big Mac. That's adorable.
Glad you're back, Sugar Cube. Just in time for breakfast for dinner.
Adorable
I
faces.
got the perfect topper for flapjacks at the market today.
Pear jam? What were you thinking? Wait, had it.
Oh, so this isn't your opinion on it? If it's not apples, we don't eat it? Okay! Psst. Okay, hold on. Wait. Okay, so, judging by Applejack's... I thought whenever she's like, Pears? Like, she kind of had that opinion like, no, if it's not apples, we don't eat it in this house. We don't accept any other fruits and vegetables. That's what I thought. So I'm glad that wasn't what was going on there. But my gosh, she was just kick up a floorboard and bury it. I'm wondering, maybe is this guy like is Grandpa like an old flame?
What's the big
Maybe.
deal? It's just pear jam.
The big deal is that there is a long-standing feud between the apples and the pears.
Oh,
Yep.
Why?
Why? Well, actually, I'm not really sure. You have any idea, Big Mac?
Nope.
Then I guess we should ask Granny? Ask me what?
What goes better
totally
with
not noticeable.
flapjacks? Caramel syrup or praline?
Praline? Oh, that smells great, Applejack. I'm gonna go wash up for supper. Be right back.
don't you have indoor plumbing?
Listen, Sugar Cube. Anytime Big Mac and I ever asked Granny about the feud or the pears, she'd get so upset she couldn't talk. Best not bring it up.
Okay, but that grandpair was really nice to me, even though I'm an apple. I wonder what happened.
Me too. But if we can't ask Granny, I don't know who. We can ask Goldie Delicious. If any pony knows about the feud, it's the family historian.
I'm in. What do you say, Big Mac?
I love this
What's your
already.
First thing tomorrow?
Yep.
Pack up the farm truck. Let's go. Oh my gosh, we haven't seen her. Oh! Katamari.
Now,
Katamari
that's how
Damacy.
you make an entrance. Or is it an exit? Well, anyway, it's so wonderful to see you three. To what do I owe the pleasure?
Well, Goldie,
That's
we were hoping you could
Never
tell us
mind.
about the feud with the apples and the pears.
Oh dear. Well, does Granny Smith know you're here?
Nope.
No, ma'am. But I ran into Grand Pear yesterday, and he was real nice. Maybe the feud was a misunderstanding or something, and we can fix it?
Well, I don't know about that, little one, but if it's
That
a
little gray
story
cat's
you're
adorable.
after, I suppose you have a right to know. And let's see, I've got a stack of books here someplace. Oh, Apple Family History, Volume 137. Here we are. Feud with the Bears. I mean, Pears. My
What?
eyes ain't what they used to
Okay.
be.
I thought there was another
Long time
feud that we didn't know about.
Sweet Applejack wasn't the only farm in Ponyville. In fact, there was another one just right next door.
This is going to be a reference to the Hatfields and
Time to
McCoys,
get
isn't
your
it?
apples. Nothing sweeter than biting into a crisp apple on a beautiful fall day.
Unless,
Granny Smith.
Of course, you could bite into a juicy pear.
Please.
She's adorable like that.
Apples ain't no good at farming apples.
She's adorable like
Pears
that.
are nature's candy. Apples are sour, like the expression on your face right now.
And so it went. The Granny and Grandpa were always at each other. Who was the best farmer? Who took better care of their trees? If Granny read to her trees at night?
And then the little tree reached its branches up to the moon.
Applejack
and the moon
continues
said,
that.
Good night.
Why, then Grandpa had special blankets made for his trees so they wouldn't get cold.
Good night, trees. I've got you covered.
You're just doing that just to do that. You do realize that they were young at
In
this
fact, all
point,
the apples in
and
the
they know
pears
more
were rivals to the core.
now that they could have matured.
The only apple and pear who ever got along were
I love
Bright
these
Macintosh and Pear Butter.
I'm not supposed to talk to you.
I'm not supposed to talk to you either.
My
I
mom
love the
says
voices.
if you hold a buttercup under your chin, it'll make your chin glow. But it doesn't work on me. See?
Does it work on me?
Yes, it does.
It sure does, Buttercup.
Buttercup. I like that name.
Wait an apple picking minute. Bright Mac and Buttercup, those are our parents'
What?
names.
Of course, Buttercup was just a nickname your father gave your mother. Pear Butter. Well, that was her given name.
Are
Pear?
you saying our mother was a pear?
So we are half pear?
You speak!
Can't believe it. How did we not know?
Well, no pony called your mother Pear Butter. And her cutie mark was a preserved jar, but Pear Butter don't look too much different from apple butter, so no clues there.
Is there anything else you can tell us about them?
I know they loved each other very much. They had that magical, star-kissed...
Tell me! I want to know. I'm a sucker for cute romance.
kind of love. You couldn't be around them too long and not feel a little bit lighter than air yourself.
Anything else?
I'd need volume 138 for that. I'm sure I could wrangle it in a couple of days.
That's all right, Goldie. It was
Hey, I'm desperate. I'll take care. I'll hold the
I
cat.
just remembered something. Your
I'll lose my
dad
head,
was
but
burnt oak
I'll hold
and
it
all
while I
kinds
listen.
of trouble together as colds.
Burnt oak? The firewood sales pony? I haven't seen him in ages.
He and your dad were thick as thieves back in the day. Y'all should talk to him.
Hey, that was
Well, if it isn't the apples.
the guy from the Big
Looking at you
Lebowski.
for you. I know you're not here for firewood. You got more trees than any pony in Ponyville.
You're
I like the
right,
boys
but
here.
we're not here for that.
It's really, I like it.
Come to ask about your dad?
How'd you know?
Yup.
Well, I wondered if you might. Hoped you would. It's nice to talk about him.
I love this
We had a
already.
lot of laughs. In fact, this one time, we were racing to see who could till the fastest, and Bright Mac was leading me in the dust. He would have won, too, if he wasn't so Distracted.
Oh crap! Oh, dude.
Oh!
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Butter, what did you do?
I'm not sure.
I love her.
She didn't do it, sir.
Excuse me?
The water silo. It was my fault.
Well, you owe me a new silo, boy. And you? Come with me. No daughter of mine is gonna make goo-goo eyes at an apple.
I love this.
Grandpa never would have known it was your father's fault. But there was no way he'd let your mother take the blame for something he did.
So Dad was super honest. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh my gosh, it's
Your
such a
dad
heartwarming
worked the apple
episode.
farm all day and then headed over to the Pears on his breaks to fix the water silo. I didn't see him for weeks. Not that he minded. Gave him a chance to get to know your mom.
Did you know our mom too?
Buttercup was a real peach of a pear. But if you want to know more about her, you should ask Mrs. Cake.
Mrs. Cake?
Mrs. Cake?
Seriously?
She and your mom were inseparable when they were fillies.
Then let's go. Thanks, Burnt Oak.
Would it be okay if we stopped by again sometime to hear more stories?
I'd like that very much.
I love this. This already, oh my gosh.
Well, cinnamon sugar.
This
on
is so
toast.
warm. This is so
All three apples sip
warm-hearted.
wings. Hi, Mrs. Cake. We heard you and our ma used to be real good friends, and we were hoping you could tell us a bit about her.
Oh, I would love to. I never knew the right time to bring it up, but I'm so glad you came. For starters, did you all know that it was your mom who convinced me to pursue baking?
Seriously?
What isn't your name, Mrs. Cake?
Not always. Back when I was Chiffon Swirl, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. But one day, your mom
That's
brought
your
me
name?
some candied pears, eggs, flour, sugar, and vanilla, and told me to just be creative. Next thing I knew, I was whipping up pear upside down cake, and I got my cutie mark. It was like she knew what I was supposed to do long before I did.
Just like you, Sugar Cube. Or rather, you're just like her.
That was the first of many cakes for me, and Buttercup was with me through it all. She'd be my taste tester,
That's so cute. I love her hairstyle.
help with the decorating, and prep new ingredients. Over the years, I perfected my recipes. Your mom did so much for me. One day, I wanted to surprise her with a cake.
You're allergic to him. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have a heart attack. Just kiss! Oh shoot.
Oh, it's just you. Sorry. I just brought you a little something to say thank you. But I see you're busy.
Promise you won't say anything?
Granny!
What in tarnation are you doing, Brat Neck? We do not fraternize with Pears. Patooey! You and Bright Mac? Oh, I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. Your families hate each other.
I can't help it. We just sorta happened.
Then Pear Butter told me the sweetest love story I have ever heard.
Happy 131,456 hour anniversary, darling.
What? That's way longer than we've been together.
I know, but it's the anniversary of the first time I called you Buttercup. It's okay if you didn't get me anything.
Actually, I did.
A
A
guitar?
guitar? For me? But I don't know how to play.
Quiet, you.
We're far apart in every way, but you're the best part of my day. And sure as I breathe the air, I know we are the perfect pair on a prickly path that goes on for miles. But it's worth it just to see you smile. And I cannot be pulled apart from the hold you have in my heart. And even if the world tells us it's wrong, you're in my head like a catchy song.
Wow, it's just wow.
Do you like it? Be honest now.
It's the best gift you could have given me.
Seasons change and leaves may fall, but I'll be with you through them all.
God.
And rain or shine, you'll always be mine.
Dang it.
On a prickly path that goes on for miles. You're the only one.
This is so
who makes
sweet.
it all worthwhile. And you should not blame me too if I can't help falling in love with you.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
no fair. I was gonna
Very
tell you
close
the
this
same
episode.
thing.
You're just mad I beat you to it.
I'm telling you, I was gonna pull you up, cover your eyes, lead you over here,
Propose to her.
and
Propose.
say surprise.
Oh.
And then you'd say, "Oh, right, Mac, I love it." And then I'd say, "I love you." Too bad it didn't work out, though.
Yep. Too bad.
The Pears are moving.
What?
I mean, I figured the Pears moved, but I didn't know all that stuff happened before with Granny and Grandpa.
It must have been really hard on our parents.
Oh, it was.
We're moving to Vancouver? But that's so far.
It's what's best. There's acres of untouched land and a warehouse to make our jams. We'll get to expand.
You're
our
just selfish.
and get away from those gosh darn apples.
Pear Butter was devastated, but seeing no way out of it, she did what she had to do.
So, that's it?
What do you want me to do, Bright Mac? We're moving. I love you, but I have to stay with my family.
Then Bright Mac did the most romantic thing I've ever seen anyone
Propose to
do.
her.
We're gonna need one more pony to tell that story.
Mayor, you knew our parents?
Seriously?
Not as well as Mrs. Cake, but I did play a part in their love story. The night before the Pear family moved,
Say hello.
Bright Mac asked me to meet him at the edge of sweet
Say hello.
Apple
Say
Acres.
hello.
I don't want to be apart from you, ever. I'm not sure what we'll do, but I'm sure of us. So sure that I'd marry you today.
I would too.
I think that's my cue. I had the honor of officiating your parents' secret wedding, and it was perfect. Bright Mac knew Buttercup wouldn't want a big splash,
Reminds me of some pony else I know.
Yep.
so they had a special way to seal their vows.
No way.
I now pronounce you. What is going on? What's with all these hair candles?
Pear Butter, where are you? You're supposed to
Seriously.
be packing. What are you two doing?
Ma, Grandpa, Buttercup and I are in love.
What? And we'll be married as soon as Mayor says...
Oh, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Doesn't that feel nice?
What are you talking about, married? You two can't be married.
Finally, something we can agree on. Pear Butter, enough of this nonsense. We're moving.
It's too late.
You gotta stick with your family.
It's too late.
But the apples are my family now, too.
You can't be serious. Are you choosing to be an apple over being a pear?
Are you making me choose?
Yes, I am.
Then yeah, I guess I am.
Fine.
Oh my god.
Can't believe Grandpa just up and left Ma like that. No wonder Granny never told us about any of this.
These things are never easy.
And it's hard to know when it is a good time.
It seems to me that now's as good a time as any.
To talk to both our grandparents. Excuse me, Grandpa?
I'm Applejack, and this year's Big Macintosh. But you already know who we are, don't you?
Sure do.
Did you really move to Ponyville just for a change of pace?
No.
Then you came here because you're sorry and you want to get to know us too?
I'm so sorry. I was just so angry, but I never...
It's in the past, Grandpa. Oh, can I call you Grandpa Pear?
Sure can.
Now, where'd you all get to? I ain't seen Hydra Harriers all day.
We've been all over, learning about our parents.
Me, you have?
And our grandfather.
So, you're back, hmm?
Sure am. Never should have left.
Finding you and learning all about Mom and Dad, I feel like I found a piece of me I didn't even know was missing.
Hearing their story makes me feel closer to them somehow.
I'm sorry. I should have told you all about him sooner.
And I should have been here. I can't believe I let a silly feud keep me from my family.
Nothing's keeping you from us now. Let's not miss anything else.
Applejack's right. Welcome back, prickly old Pear.
Thanks, you old crabapple.
Now that we're all together, there's something we want to show you. Mom and Dad left us something to remember them by. Come on!
Oh my gosh.
It's beautiful.
It's impossible.
If anything's gonna make it through, it's apples and pears.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have to say, this is my favorite episode of the series. This is one of my favorite episodes of the series. Not just of the season, but of the whole series. Oh my gosh. I don't believe I've seen such a warm-hearted, such a cute and sweet story like this told in MLP before. I don't think I've seen such a sweet, heartwarming story. Oh man. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I love this episode so much. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Oh man. Okay. I never thought, honestly, that we would actually get to see Applejack's and see the Apple family, the parents. I never thought we'd actually get to see them, actually see their design, see what they look like. We still don't know what happened to them, but we know that they're gone. We know that they passed away. and or at least we assume that they passed away. I mean, it's safe to assume that they did, because in that one episode of MLP, whenever Applejack makes the mention about the parents, and you see two stars shoot across the sky, that pretty much solidified that they were dead. But I don't. And there's different theories that you can come up with. It was like a cart accident or something. Maybe they kind of were traveling and something happened, or I don't know. Maybe maybe she gave birth. Maybe after giving birth to Apple Bloom, something happened and there was complications with the pregnancy, and she passed away after giving birth to Apple Bloom, and their father was like she passed away during pregnancy, and their father was grief stricken, and he suffered heartache to the point that it killed him too. It is entirely possible. It is entirely possible. He was so grief stricken over the loss of his wife that he just couldn't handle it, and I know that's not. I mean, it's sort of a bittersweet way to look at it. But if I were to myself imagine any sort of thing, again, like I can also imagine like an accident or something. Like it's a rainy night, they're on their way back home or something. They had to travel. They're on their way back home, and it's a rainy night, and the cart ends up sliding off the road, and they have a bad crash, and they're lying there trapped in the vehicle, and they're both like clinging to life. And there's a picture of them with their kids that they have in the cart, and I can imagine this bittersweet scene where like it's raining and they're lying there together, and like they slowly reach for each other's hoof as they pass away together. And now they're like guardian angels watching over the children. That's another thought that comes to mind for me. I know many other people have different theories as well, but I'm still shocked with this episode. Like, I have never seen such a sweet. I mean, yeah, there's been plenty of sweet, warm-hearted episodes in MLP before, but oh my gosh, this one just hit heavy. I've never seen something so in MLP so sweet, so beautiful, so just adorable. It's magnificent. I love it. I love this to death. This is one of my favorite episodes. If not, right now, my most favorite episode of all time of the series. And it's just magnificent. And the story is interesting. It starts off with Apple Bloom, and she meets this old fella, this gentleman rather, who sells pears. And I think it's really interesting, like just in this little moment right here, we see this episode has shown a lot of maturity. Not just for Apple Bloom, but it's also showed a lot of maturity with Applejack and Big Mac as well. And honestly, I love so much the dynamic with the characters here. This was this was a departure from what we normally see with the characters doing things with their friends. This was just family. This was just them. This was them wanting to learn about their parents, wanting to find out about their parents. And at first I thought this was going to be something where it's just Apple Bloom that wants to find out about it, and so she has to do it on her own. But no, I was shocked, but I'm very happy that Big Mac and Applejack were involved as well, wanting to find out about their parents, wanting to find out about the past. And it was like we actually got that, and we actually got to see them all three of them. And there was a lot of growth. Again, not just for Apple Bloom, but for Applejack and Big Mac as well. It showed maturity for them because they wanted to learn about their parents. And this was like another major step for them. Them learning about their grandfather. Them learning about who their grandfather was. Finding their grandfather and learning about their mom and dad. And oh my gosh. And there was, and again, that moment whenever Applejack acted that, like, freaked out about the pear at first. Again, I thought that she had the mentality, like, nothing but apples in this household. But it was interesting that not even she or Big Mac knew about the feud between the apples and the pears. And so she just knew that it was a delicate subject that wasn't really supposed to be discussed. Otherwise, Granny would probably kill you. And sorry. And then that moment, I mean, they try to find, so they begin to asking different people about their parents, and they find out that there was once another farm there. And I gotta say, Granny's younger look here, I love Granny's younger look. She's cute that way. I like it. She's really cute that way. I like it. I really like it. And the voice actress for Granny at this point done a great job, and I love the other designs for the other background characters here that were featured. Very, very cute. Very, very adorable. And it's interesting to see Bill Newton as Bill Newton did Bright Mac, and William Shatner did Grandpear. William Shatner. Oh my gosh. William Shatner is in MLP. That's a shock. Oh my gosh. But Felicia Day as Pear Butter. Okay, I gotta say the voice actors here, and Bill Mondi as Burnt Oak. I gotta say the voice acting was top notch for this episode. Like, the voice acting was just magnificent for this episode. It was so good. I loved it. Every single person, Burnt Oak, Bright Mac, Pear Butter, the voice acting for all the characters here was just phenomenal. Grandpear, amazing. I mean, the voice acting for all this was just phenomenal. It was so beautiful. It was so wonderfully done. But we get the flashback to see Pear Butter, to see Pear and Bright whenever they were just little bitty fillies. And they just begin talking, and Bright Mac falls for her. And they just kind of begin hanging out, and they become closer as time goes on. And and again, Burnt Oak, I love his design. I love his old-fashioned yet humble design. I love it. And I love his voice as well. Like, great. They did a fantastic job. And again, Grandpear, again, William Shatner did a fantastic job as well. I love it. And it was adorable. It was cute, and whenever the water silo was destroyed, and Bright stepped up. He took responsibility for what he had done, and Pear she still liked him. She still thought he was cute, and like, it's so cool that they had grown up together. And it was so sweet that they had grown up together and they had grown closer over that time, and it was so cute. It was so sweet. And that little moment whenever Apple Bloom elbows Applejack and says, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Very cute, very sweet. I love that little moment there. And it was so cool also, Big Mac talking in this episode. Like, this really opened him up. And that moment whenever Big Mac comes back and asks if they can come back and hear more stories. This episode shows that that MLP can pull off something like this. It doesn't have to be big and flashy. It doesn't have to have a lot of action. It doesn't have to have a lot of adventure. It doesn't have to have these big musical numbers just playing. Soft music, a sweet story, great characters, well-written dialogue, just mixed together with love. And that's what this episode is. That's what this episode is. This is a departure from some of the other episodes we've got, but oh my gosh, is it so beautiful. It's just amazingly crafted. And it was, and then whenever we hear Mrs. Cake's actual name, so I guess Cake, I guess Mrs. Cake is basically her name after she married Mr. Cake, I guess. But again, it was interesting, you know, the references that we got, the little mannerisms with Pear and Bright, and how we saw that bloodline carry over to Big Mac, Applejack, and Apple Bloom, and it was really cute. It was really adorable, and it was really warm and sweet. And I love, and this little moment, like just this soft music that's playing whenever we see Mrs. Cake and we see Pear just baking together, and we see these little flashes playing, and whenever they're making things together, they're making things as friends, and we see Pear using that slicer. It's so cute. It's so simple, but it's so sweet. And again, it's not big and flashy. It's not just this out of this world thing. It's just something simple, and it's just so cute, so sweet. I'm beginning to tear up again. Dang it. And this music just helps, the music in this episode just helps to emphasize the emotion and the feeling of what is experiencing here. I mean, it's just beautifully done. The music accompanies, the musical pieces accompanies the scenes that transition in this, that play out so incredibly well. They blend so beautifully with the atmosphere. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful. And whenever Bright sneezes and Pear's covered with flowers, she just laughs. I love this. Oh my gosh. I cannot, honestly, words. I have no words to describe how much that I love these two. This adorable romance between these two. I have no words to describe it. It's so beautiful. It's so sweet. It's so heartwarming. Heart-tugging. Gripping your heart. I don't know if that's a word. I don't know if that even applies here. And it was also cute, Mrs. Cake, like, witnessing them, Pear and Bright almost kissing, and you just see that. And Bright, and also I love Pear's design. I love that soft peach color for her, the beautiful soft blue eyes, and that orangish peach colored hair. I love her design, and again, the voice actresses, they did such an amazing job here. This is so good. This is so wonderfully crafted. I mean, this is a masterpiece. And again, you hear the soft music playing, you hear the background, you hear like the crickets and such. This piece is just so wonderful. It's so beautiful. And again, I love this. I love this so much. And then that little scene whenever they're setting up on the hill together, and Bright puts that flower in front of Pear's ear, and again, I know some people aren't into like the sweet romance, but I'm a huge sucker for it. I am. And I cannot, again, I can't express in words how much I adore this episode. How much I adore the dynamic between Bright and Pear. It's so adorable, so sweet, so heartwarming. If I think you could, honestly, right now, you could put a picture of Bright and Pear together in the dictionary next to sweet. Cuteness over, I mean, you could put it next to the words sweet, cuteness overload, and my girl so cute. And it would apply. And then she has a guitar and she begins to play. And again, I love the dynamics whenever she takes the guitar from him and she's like, quiet you. I love it. I love this so freaking much. And then she begins to play, and oh my gosh, that song. It's so cute. It's so sweet. It's so soft. And those little moments where it shows them together, waving at each other, skipping away together, sharing a milkshake together. And then dancing, even though they're not dancing close, they're still dancing together. And then the scene transitions to show them walking together through the spring, or through the summer, and through the fall, and then through the winter. And they're sharing one scarf. And, you know, you can kind of imagine that, and again, I have two different scenes play out in my head for this. One, you know, maybe one of them, maybe like, because of the size of the scarf, like Bright brought, like that's his scarf, and Pear didn't have one, and so he wrapped it around her. Or maybe it's a little thing where maybe they both put some bits in together and they bought one scarf between them for them to share. And oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's so cute. And then it goes back to spring and it shows the rain and them trying to get away from the rain. And then whenever he shields her from the rain with his hat, and she just hugs him. I can't. Oh my gosh, again, this is so cute. And then you see those little moments of them waving to each other and just sharing those little moments together, every little moment that they can get. And then that one moment whenever she sees Bright having helped her, and she just walks up and sits down next to him, and she like pulls some of his hair away. I can't. The little subtle movements and little cute, adorable motions. I can't express how beautiful, how warm, and again I'm crying, that this is. I can't express it. It's just so beautiful. It's just so magnificent. Heartwarming, and just so warm and loving. And then whenever she tells him that she just can't help but fall in love and in love with him, and then he shows her, and then he puts the hat on her. She looks good like that. He puts the hat on her, and then he shows her the rock with the carving of their cutie marks together. And basically, again with the story, with the flashbacks, Pear and Bright wanted to be together. They wanted to be together. They loved each other so much and they wanted to be together, but their families didn't see eye to eye. This, again, it's a Romeo and Juliet style story with a much happier ending. It's a Romeo and Juliet style story where the two families don't see eye to eye, and so, you know, the young adults there, they keep the kids, they keep seeing each other secretly, and they held on to every single little moment, every single little memory that they possibly could. And then Grandpa decided that he had had enough of the apples and just wanted to get away. I love how that in this episode, I love how that Pear told Bright that she loved him right there. Just, you know, some cartoons don't want to have, like, the characters actually say, I love you, but I'm so glad that they did here. And then Bright realized, and I was just waiting for that moment whenever he was going to propose to her, and he decided that the only way to keep her there was to be able to marry, was to marry her. I'm sure he would have done that anyway, but he wanted to hold on to her. He wanted to keep her there. He didn't want to lose her. And so he basically asked her to marry him, and she happily said yes. And I love this beautiful nighttime wedding here in this little grove with the lanterns and the candles. This is gorgeous. Like, I love this. This is beautiful. It's simple. And, like, some weddings are just, like, out of this, like, people go out of their way to have this huge wedding that costs a ton of money. I like simple things like this, honestly. Like, something simple. The lights around the trees. It's like a little garden. Like a little nighttime garden. And I love it. It's beautiful. And so they actually are going to get married, and they plant a couple of seeds together. And that moment whenever the family shows up, and again, nothing big, nothing flashy. And then that moment whenever Bright reveals that he and Pear love each other, there's no music playing. All you hear are the crickets in the background. And then you hear a soft music, and then that adorable kiss and hug, or nuzzle. And this moment here, this family moment between the pears and the apples, this is really something that I've never really seen done before in MLP. I mean, maybe, but not like this. Not to this level. Not like this. And Grandpear wanted, he tried to hold Pear to the concept of being family. And then that little moment right there whenever Pear steps back and says that the apples are now her family because she is now married to Bright and now they're part of her family. And again, the emotion here, the dialogue, the writing, the acting, the way the lines are delivered. This is something I've never seen done to this degree in MLP before. Not like this. But oh my gosh, if this doesn't hit you hard in the feels, this just hits hard. And it does such a great job of it. Whenever she asks her dad if he's making her choose between him and that moment, like right there, whenever you see that moment, whenever Pear realizes, whenever she realizes that she's forced to choose. Again, it's a subtle detail, but in the background you see Mare. She just shows this expression of shock. And then she turns to Pear to see what her reaction is, and you see this look of just disbelief on her face. That her own dad is making her choose between her blood family and her married family. And you see that look of shock, of hurt, and that quiver of her lip as she makes her decision. She realizes, and like for me, I can see like the turmoil, like a blend of different emotions. She loves Bright. She doesn't want to lose him. She doesn't want to leave him. And she wants to hold on to him just as much as he wants to hold on to her. She loves him too much to let him go. She loves him too much to be away from him. And it's not that she doesn't love her family. She does. But she also, at the same time, she realizes how stubborn that her dad is. She sees how stubborn that he is. and she realizes that he's would willingly keep her from that happiness. And so it hurts. She's having to let go of her dad because he's putting that pressure, he's putting that restriction on her. She's, you know, she still loves him with all of her heart. He's her dad, but she's making a choice. It's a choice that she has to make, and it's one of both happiness for the life that she has in store, the life that she wants with Bright, but it hurts because she's having to let go of her dad. And you can see just Bright's there for her. He supports her. And you can also see that quiver in the eyes of Grandpear. He didn't think his daughter would make that decision, but she did, and it hurt him. It hurt him to see that. But he was too stubborn to see the love that Bright and Pear had. He was too stubborn, too stuck in his bitter ways at that time to see that. And so he was letting that grudge, he was letting that competition cloud his judgment, cloud his heart, to that he couldn't open himself up to the beautiful possibilities that was there. He was restricting himself. And he ran away. And then Granny Smith, she opened herself up to Pear, and so Applejack and Big Mac and Apple Bloom decided to go talk to Grandpear. And like I said before, he regrets the decision that he made all those years before. He regrets it. He realizes that he was wrong. He lost a major part of himself that day. He lost his daughter. And it's also sad, like, it's not depicted here, it's not explicitly said, but I can just have that image. I do, that from that moment on, he may not have had any more contact with his daughter. And so he went the rest of his life never speaking to his only daughter. And then he knew about Apple Bloom and Big Mac and Applejack, but he never had really any contact with his grandkids. He never had any contact with his blood grandchildren. And you wonder, like, he had to live his life knowing that he had put that pressure on his daughter and restricted her. And she made the choices she wanted and she was happy, but I know that, like, in the back of her mind, she wished that her dad was there. And I can theorize that she may have tried to open him up to that, but again, as the years went by, he was still too stubborn. And maybe what changed it was whenever she passed away. He found out that she was gone, and he knew he wouldn't have a second chance. He lost his only daughter. He lost her. Like, he put her out. He shunned her. And he never had a second chance. He never had a chance to say, I'm sorry. He never had a chance to open himself up, to welcome her and Bright into his life, to welcome his grandkids. And now he's got one last chance. And he took it. He had one last chance to be there for his grandkids. And I was wondering, like, would he still be bitter? Like, he didn't seem bitter whenever he saw Apple Bloom. Like, I think he knew who she was. And it makes me wonder, like, what changed his mind? Was it just he realized his mistake over the time, or was it finding out that his only daughter had died? Was that what changed his mind? Like, it happened and he realized life was too short to dwell on the past. And he realized how quick life is and how much you can lose in so short a time. And so, just, they forgave him. They forgave him because that's them. They didn't hold a grudge. They didn't have anything. They didn't have anything against him. They weren't mad. They wanted him to be back in the family. They wanted to welcome him back in the family because he's their grandfather. And they didn't want to lose another part of their family. And then that moment, again, whenever Applejack is just standing there with that defiant, knowledgeable expression, and she says that about learning about her parents. I never actually thought I would ever hear Applejack say that. And another beautiful piece that I have to point out is that moment whenever Applejack steps up to Granny and she tilts her head upward and says, "And our grandfather." At that moment, there's no music. There's no music. It doesn't need it. This episode was another that shows that you don't always have to have music playing in the background for a scene to get you, for it to be good, for it to really drive home the emotion, for it to drive home the emotion that is depicted in that scene. This episode shows you don't have to have that. You don't always have to have music, a musical number, a musical piece playing in the background. And this episode solidifies that. At that moment, whenever it's just silence, and Applejack says that, again, I credit so much every single voice actor and actress here, Ashley Ball, for delivering that scene, delivering that line with such power, such pride. Like, her granny had kept that a secret from her, and she had learned about it, and she wanted her to know. She wanted her to know, we got to know our grandfather, our real grandfather. And then she turned and saw him walking up, and she wanted to know, basically, whether you like it or not, he's our grandfather. And to us, he's a part of the family. And again, that's what I was saying earlier about the maturity. It's not just for Apple Bloom. I mean, Apple Bloom has matured in this episode. That's clear. But there's a maturity with Applejack and Big Mac that we've never seen before. And it took this episode to really show that, to really depict that, to really bring that to light with family. And it shows that. Big Mac opened up as well. He was talking more in this episode. And they were doing basically a soul search, learning about their origins, learning about where they came from and what happened. And again, it's just magnificently done. And then Grandpear walks up, and again, it's a subtle thing, but, pardon me. But again, whenever the scene shows Granny, it's more focused on her, and there's a bit of a blur over Applejack. And Granny Smith narrows her eyes, and Applejack turns back to her out of the corner of her eye, and her expression changes to one of concern. And then she looks back to Grandpear. Again, it's a subtle thing, but there's a lot of detail, and it's magnificent. William Shatner did a fantastic job as well, voicing Grandpear here. He done a fantastic job, and again, he done a magnificent job as Grandpear. Ashley Ball did a fantastic job as well. I mean, as always with Applejack, but this episode, I don't know, it's just the lines that were delivered and how they were delivered. She just did such a wonderful job in this episode. And Peter knew, just again, Big Mac. Again, just the lines that were delivered and how he delivered them was just magnificent. Michelle Kreber, her lines, how she delivered them as Apple Bloom in this as well, just amazing. And then Felicia and Bill, just as Pear and Bright, oh my gosh, they were great. They were phenomenal. And Bill again, Bill Mundy as Burn Oak. Again, the voice acting for this episode was just exceptionally well done. And it took, again, this episode for it to actually really show that. I mean, it's amazing as is, but just this episode just really brought it out. Granny and Grandpa, they decided to make amends. They forgave each other and decided to put the past behind them. And that's what Apple Bloom said. The past is the past. And basically, this kind of shows that, life is too short to dwell on the past. Just, they put that behind them and focus forward because they're family. And there's still some good memories that they could make ahead. There's still some good memories. And then finally we end with showing that tree. That pear and apple tree that had grown up together. That Bright and Pear had planted in the orchard, in that grove. And it had grown up. It had grown like their hearts, intertwined together, and right in the middle, it branches out and forms a heart. The everlasting, eternal love. Their love was eternal, and it's still showing even now. Their love never really died. Their love, like, they grew up together, Bright and Bright and Pear, they grew up together. Their love was strong, and they had 3 great children, 3 great kids that is carrying on that bloodline. Their love never died. I mean, it's here in the orchard, and it's in their kids. And it shows with this tree, their love stood through it all. I can't say enough about this episode. This episode is just so beautiful. Every bit of this episode is just magnificent. The subtle, sweet, slow-paced story with Apple Bloom, Applejack, and Big Mac trying to find out about their parents, learning about their family, is just wonderful. It's slow-paced, but at the same time, it's sweet. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Again, you don't need a fast-paced, you don't need anything fast-paced for it to tell a beautiful story, for it to tell a good story. This told a great story. This told a wonderful story. And we got to see that family bonding, that family connection with Big Mac, Applejack, and Apple Bloom, like, trying to find out about their family. And we actually, for the first time ever, we get to see their parents. We get to see their parents learn of their names. And learn that we get to see their designs. And again, I love the designs. I really do. Especially for Pear. She's adorable. And the voice acting, again, is just well delivered. And we get to see, we're introduced to these other characters that all had a part in their parents' lives. And we get to see more about that, and we get to see more of the traits that were carried over that you can see carrying on in their children. And it's heartwarming. I can only imagine how Bright and Pear must have been whenever she was pregnant with Big Mac, whenever she was pregnant with Applejack. How happy that they were to see their children. And just to see that love that they'd made together. Just to see that new chapter, that addition to their family, helping their family to grow and expand. I can just imagine it. And again, we don't know what happened to them, and I don't think we'll ever know what happened to them, and I don't think officially we need to know. I think that's something that's just best left up to different people's interpretations. But again, I love the dynamics between Pear and Bright. It was adorable. It was so sweet. I love it to death. I do. I love it so much. I love their designs. The voice acting, again, is great. The lines that were delivered, how they delivered them was just phenomenal, amazing. The atmosphere in this episode, the tone, the setting was just incredible. I loved it. It was delivered and beautifully set so well, and just how the characters, how they were written, how they were designed, how they delivered their lines, how they were portrayed, how they acted. The dynamics between the interactions between all the characters. I love this episode so much. And it's a really sweet episode again, and there's a lot of different things here with this. And like I said, with the ending, there's a lot in this episode. And this is one of my favorite episodes of the whole series. If not my most favorite episode of all time. I honestly wasn't sure. I doubted that an episode could surpass Amending Fences as one of my most favorite episodes. But this episode, I think it's definitely right beside it as one of my favorite episodes. But again, this was such a beautiful, beautiful episode. And then the ending music is just so soft and soothing. Again, I love this episode so much. And I can see why so many people wanted me to see this episode. And I can see why many people were like this episode was emotional. It was. It was. But oh my gosh, was it so good. So, yeah, to everybody that worked on this episode, the writers, the animators, the voice actors and actresses, painters, everyone, thank you so much. Everybody at Hasbro, DHX, thank you all so much for this wonderful episode. This is an amazing, wonderful, beautiful episode. I can't say enough about this episode. I really can't. It's so gorgeous. It's so heartwarming. It's so warm. And again, thank you all so much for all of the work and effort you put into this episode. Thank you all so much for the love and passion that you put into this episode, and the attention to detail, and for just the way that it was written, the character dialogue, the character designs, the character models, the music composition. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for this. This is amazing. Thank you all so much. And as I said, this episode shows you don't need something big and flashy to tell a good story. This episode is a wonderful story. We learn about Applejack, Big Mac, and Apple Bloom's parents. We finally get to see them. We don't learn what happened to them, but we see a beautiful love story. And like I said, it makes me think of Romeo and Juliet, except it had a much happier ending. They didn't have to die to be together. But if you think about it, that kind of might have happened, in a sense, if you think about it that way. I'm a sucker for the cute cartoon romance like that. And Pear and Bright just shot up my list to favorite cartoon couples. Of favorite cartoon couples. And oh my gosh, I love their interactions, I love their dialogue, I love their little moments, I love every little moment between them. How realistic and natural that it is, how sweet and warm-hearted that it is. And even the heart-tugging moments, it's beautifully executed. The lines, the way they were delivered, the emotion that was the emotion that was depicted, that was animated on the characters' faces to help convey the emotions that they were feeling, that they were reeling from. It's all magnificently done, and it fits so incredibly well. And then the music that is composed during the moments to help bring forth further emphasis on the emotion. It's incredible. And again, Applejack and Big Mac and Apple, they basically went on a soul-searching journey to find out about their past, to find out about their family. And they found them. They found out about it. And I love it. I love it so much. I absolutely love it. And I just realized I forgot to put, and I just realized real quick, I forgot to put on my Rainbow Dash headphones. I usually always wear my Rainbow Dash headphones whenever I watch an episode of MLP. But I just finished watching the Kingdom Hearts orchestra trailer before I did this episode, so I was watching that while wearing these, and I completely forgot to switch because I kept these on, so I completely forgot to switch, so I sincerely apologize. But don't worry, the next episode that I watch, I will be wearing them. I completely forgot, but anyway, again, I love this episode so much. This is one of my most favorite episodes of the whole series. So, again, I cannot thank everyone that worked on this episode enough for just every single beautiful frame. The emotion that was portrayed on the characters' faces, the way they were animated, the little movements that the characters made, the dialogue that was written, the way it was executed, the way it was delivered, the music composition, the scenery, the backdrops, it all fit together so incredibly well. It all fit together so beautifully. And this is definitely one of my most favorite episodes. So again, thank you all so much for that. And also, thank you all again. Thank you to everybody. Thank you if you stuck around to this point for this long. But thank you guys again. I'm really glad you guys. Thank you so much for wanting me to watch this episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for recommending that I watch this episode. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you guys think about, well, the episode, your thoughts, theories, and what I said as well in the comments below. So again, thank you guys again for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.